In this video, I'll be showing you exactly how to identify a negative, destructive energy pendulum so you can avoid getting trapped into its negative energy. Hi, this is Sunny from personalmasteryquest.com, and today I want to talk to you about how to avoid getting hooked onto negative energy pendulums. Pendulums in the reality transurfing process are energy structures that are formed from a collection of other people's thought energy that are of the same frequency. A pendulum's goal is to provoke an emotional response from within you so that you become attached to it and then start feeding it with your thought energy. And when you do that, it starts to become stronger and it starts to control you, because pendulums are just the web of social conditioning that are trying to impose certain thoughts and beliefs within you. And this takes away from your freedom. So you might say, why is it worth avoiding pendulums? You want to avoid pendulums, and especially destructive negative energy pendulums, because they take away from your freedom and right of choice. You want to avoid them so you can actually live a life that is best for you instead of living a life that is shaped and paved by other people's beliefs and thoughts. Because when you get hooked onto pendulums, your thoughts, emotions, and actions are greatly influenced by the pendulums. And in this process, you lose your right of freedom. You move away from your ideal lifeline and you start to experience more negative thoughts and emotions that are influenced entirely by the pendulums. You start to think that these thoughts are yours and you start to identify with them, but they're not your thoughts. They're recycled thoughts of other people that you just have picked up through your conscious mind from the pendulum. This is actually the reason that most people today are living unhappy and unfulfilled. People who easily get hooked onto pendulums, and to be honest with you, that's like 99% of people, spend their entire lives thinking thoughts and chasing desires that aren't theirs in the first place. And because of this reason, their entire lives end up becoming a chase for something greater, something more meaningful, but they never get there. And they continue to experience more negative thoughts, and they start to attribute a lot of importance to them because they think that they are their own thoughts. And this only feeds more energy into the pendulum, provoking more negative thoughts to come their direction. Main point is, pendulums will try to emotionally provoke you and instill within you thoughts that aren't yours and that don't benefit you. They only benefit the pendulum. They will try to get an emotional response from you, and once you do that, and once you start acting in a way that is in their favor, you start to get more and more attached, and you start to give away your freedom to live a happy life that you actually want. I have made a separate video on why pendulums are bad, and you can access that video by clicking this link right here. But now we could get to the main part of this video, how to avoid destructive pendulums. Here are 3 ways. Anytime you encounter a group or a cause that really opposes a different group or a cause, it most likely means that they have a strong pendulum that surrounds them. Pendulums oppose other pendulums that they perceive to be a threat to their own existence. For example, the Republican pendulum and the Democrat pendulum. People from both pendulums are influenced to think that the people from the other side are incorrect and are a threat to the country's well-being. Pendulums infuse within their adherents a strong sense of identity with the beliefs that only benefit their own pendulum. See, pendulums need all the energy that they can get in order to grow and become stronger. And the best way to do that is infuse within you a strong sense of belief that their beliefs are correct. And once you start doing this, you automatically start to think that other people who don't believe what you believe are completely wrong and incorrect. And the pendulum doesn't only gain energy from the person who supports it, it also gains energy from the person who really severely opposes it. For example, Donald Trump has a very strong pendulum around him. His supporters are extremely passionate about their beliefs and believe everybody else that doesn't believe in their beliefs to be incorrect. But just as strongly as his supporters support him, his opposers oppose him. His haters hate him just as much as his supporters support him. Both sides equally fuel the pendulum without even knowing it. Always remember, it does not matter to the pendulum if you are for it or against it, but as long as you are emotionally attached and involved, it is receiving your energy and you are making it stronger. So to avoid this, do not get involved with groups that strongly oppose beliefs of another group. If you do, you will keep getting sucked into their pendulum and start to act as their puppet eventually. Learn to stay emotionally detached from whatever you partake in, and always remember that all sides have the right to believe whatever that they want to believe for themselves, and that no side is particularly incorrect for what they believe. And anytime someone tries to involve you in a conversation or a group that you can tell has a strong pendulum around it, simply politely decline and move on. Your goal is to pass by indifferently, not, try so hard to avoid it. This brings us to number 2. Anytime someone tries to inflict negativity upon you, you must in that moment realize that you are being confronted with a destructive pendulum. In that moment, you must not get emotionally involved or provoked, otherwise you will get hooked onto its energy. So anytime you come across a person or a situation that is provoking an emotional response within you, anytime you feel a sense of, strong need to react, a strong urge to react, acknowledge in that moment that you are being confronted with a pendulum and simply remove yourself from that situation or, get away from that person. See, people who are easily attached emotionally to certain things that happen around them are beneficial to pendulums because not only do they feed them their own energy, but they also attract other people from their, friend group or social circle or whatever it is. So take, for example, a person who watches a lot of news, and this person watches a murder story that happened in their neighborhood on the news and gets very emotionally involved in it. They feel very bad for the victim. They feel enraged. And because of this, they start to tell all their friends and family about it and start to have a lot of conversations on it on social media, posting about it on Facebook and so on. These types of people help the pendulum gain so much more traction because they give them such an emotional response from within themselves, and they attract so many other people to the pendulum's energy. So do your best to avoid these types of people. If you do encounter people who are, always trying to provoke you emotionally with their negative stories and whatnot, just don't start to react strongly to what they have to say and don't get emotionally involved in their stories. Don't go out of your way to avoid these people. This will only work against you because you are still exerting energy to avoid the pendulum, but this only gives the pendulum more energy. Simply acknowledge them and move freely past them. This brings us on to number 3. Anytime you feel very strongly about something or you have started to identify with a certain thing, it most likely means that you have become hooked onto a pendulum's energy. As a rule of thumb, the more strongly you feel about anything, the more strongly you have become identified with the pendulum that surrounds that particular topic. As I mentioned before, all pendulums try to do is they try to really get you emotionally hooked and try to identify with their beliefs. In this process, you start to act solely based on what the pendulum wants you to do, not what your higher self, your true self wants you to do. So even with your goals and dreams, every single time you see yourself obsessing over them, just take a step back and reduce the amount of importance that you attribute to them. See, there's a very big difference between being passionate about your goals and dreams and values, and then having your goals and values have control over you. You can work towards your goals and dreams with passion, and at the same time remain detached. Having a emotionally detached perspective doesn't mean that you don't care about anything or that you can't enjoy anything or that you can't pursue anything with passion and interest. One of the people I follow, his name is Jay Shetty, he explains that detachment doesn't mean that you don't own anything, it means that nothing owns you. It simply means that you have control over your emotions and your own thoughts, and that you don't feed into energies of different pendulums. Because as soon as you do start identifying with pendulums, you start to have thoughts that aren't yours, beliefs that aren't yours, and in this process, lose your freedom of choice. So you can work towards your goals and dreams with passion and interest, but just know that as soon as you start obsessing over them, take a step back and realize that you might have become hooked onto a pendulum, and instantly reduce the amount of importance that you attribute to the goals and dreams and simply start enjoying the present moment and what already exists in your life. Be grateful for whatever already is great. So those were the 3 ways that you can easily identify and avoid pendulums. Remember, having a detached perspective allows you to move freely through life and create a life for you that is actually based on your own desires and not the desires and beliefs of pendulums. Detachment allows you to free up so much emotional energy that was previously going to different types of pendulums all around you, and now all that energy can be channeled into actually pursuing your own goal. You see why you come up against way less obstacles when you are not giving your energy away, but instead keeping it with you and putting it into whatever you are currently pursuing. So once you do stop giving other pendulums your thought energy, you will start to have more composure over yourself emotionally, and you will start to have more control over your life and your outcomes. So I hope this video helps you. If you enjoyed it and learned something from it, please hit the like button. If you would like to get more videos on pendulums or reality transurfing, hit the subscribe button right here and let me know in the comments what you would like me to discuss. You can access this full blog post, just click the link in the description below, and as always, I will see you in the next video.